As far back as I can remember, I dreamt of a normal life. A life filled with normal things. A life where monsters don't live in closets or under the bed. A life where ghosts aren't real. I just wanted to be normal. But that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. Since my early 20s, I have experienced profound paranormal events that would change my life. Extreme poltergeist activity, living amongst those that have departed this earth in ways unimaginable. It has affected my loved ones and children with no end in sight. I could hear things, see things, and feel things not of this world. I asked myself if this was a gift or a curse. With the help of my mother and close friends, I emerged a paranormal investigator. Since 2013, I have been on a relentless journey to learn about the paranormal. This is my time to share my journey with you. Welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. Hello and welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. I am your friendly neighborhood ghost hunter, Justin Brown, and we are presenting episode 50. Yes, you heard me, 50. We have done 50 of these things, and I want to thank you guys very, very much for sticking around, supporting the show, and making that happen. It's a big milestone for us. Soon we'll be moving on to 100 and hopefully much, much more. But thank you all for joining us. I see everybody chiming in, tuning in, and getting ready to talk about the paranormal shenanigans again. Thank you very much for understanding the scheduling shifts for this show. My daughter has softball practice on Tuesdays. That will change when the season starts. And I had to show tomorrow. Josh Bender is going to be Into the Abyss with John Ward and Sean Gilmore tonight. And I had to schedule it tonight, so that's kind of crappy. Sorry about that. Not really. Anyway, we're going to bring the girls over, and we'll all collectively thank you for tuning in and supporting the show. It's episode 50, guys. Does it feel like we've done 50 of these yet?
No.
No?
I think we have fun.
Time flies when you have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do you think about parapsychology?
I have no opinion on that whatsoever.
What do you think about the paranormal when it involves and concerns the mind? Nothing yet?
It'll screw with it. I know that.
Well, what about your mind screwing with the paranormal?
Well, I guess I never even thought of that.
Well, you're going to think about it tonight. And if not, you never will.
Okay.
All right, are you girls ready?
Yes.
Okay, you look ready to be. All right, guys, if you do not know the drill, I'm going to talk about parapsychology for a little while. If you would like for us to shout you guys out during the show, we will momentarily. Just make sure you comment at least hi or talk amongst yourselves in the chat. And we'll go through there and shout you out, make you part of the show. But thanks for tuning in. Please feel free to share this live stream. If you're watching on YouTube, share it amongst your social networks on YouTube as well. Please keep it classy. Please be respectful. If not, we will have to give you the boot. We usually don't have a problem, but sometimes, trolls surface. So here we go. Parapsychology. It's one of the subjects in the paranormal field that I have studied quite a bit over my short period in the paranormal, which is spanned about 6 years. But I've always been a huge fan and study person on psychology. I took a psychology course in high school and I loved it. I actually got a perfect score on every single test, quiz, and project in that class. And it was the first class I've ever done that. And I think that's my strong suit. The explanations and the phenomena based around the human psyche and the mind fascinate me the most. And consciousness overall is a huge component in most everything that we deal with when it comes to reality, and specifically the paranormal. The agent of consciousness, the human agent involving consciousness, is the catalyst of pretty much all paranormal phenomena. Okay. And I'm going to go into why here in a moment, but a brief history on parapsychology. It pretty much started I'm not going to go in detail, guys. So the names and the dates of all these things, I'm not going to go in detail, but you can Google it. Wikipedia knows pretty much everything. But in the middle of the 1800s, there was a spiritualist movement. And once people started colonizing the States and we started spinning off from Orthodox Christianity and Catholicism and Judaism and all those religions, we started seeking spiritual exploration outside those realms. And even though these things pop up in biblical senses, they're taboo. But now it's coming to popular culture. So science tries to jump on board with this movement, and parapsychology, or the Association of Psychical Research, started to begin. And they started studying things like telekinesis, what they now call psychokinesis, telepathy, psychic ability, ghosts, all these things, right? And they started coming up with theories and trying to do a lot of experiments. And during the 60s and 70s, there were a lot of scientific experiments that were not always, pretty much, they weren't condoned by the mainstream scientific community because they're hugely skeptical of these things. But what was interesting that came out of that research was quantum physics started to intersect with parapsychology in ways that dealt with quantum theory. So when it comes to entanglement, non-causal effects on our reality, on physical systems involving the mind, we started to do research on things like micro PK and random number generators, and we started to do things on psychic abilities. We started to test the range and the effectiveness of how someone can be psychic. Stargate was a program that popped up in I believe the 1950s by the CIA to study remote viewing and other psychic research. And parapsychology has been around and is not going anywhere anytime soon. People report to I think it's called the Association of Psychical Research. I'm not sure about that. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared on that information. But there is a reporting center where people will report things. And a lot of the time, it's poltergeist-like. Things move around on their own. Things pop in out of existence into existence other places. Footsteps, disembodied voices, all these things that have been reported for years and years and years get reported to them. And it's common. So parapsychologists actually believe that paranormal is actually normal. And they really don't view the paranormal as it's defined in the mainstream. It's an emergent phenomena that they believe mostly stems from non-causal effects. And a lot of that gets into quantum field theory, they think. And I'm not going to go into quantum field theory in detail. But basically, quantum entanglement involves the mind entangling with certain physical systems and physical objects within your home and dealing with certain dissociative and certain things like if you take all of your problems and all your worries and you don't let them affect you internally, you externalize all these energies, all these things, so they don't affect your health and your psyche and everything. People like artists, people who do things on the weekend to kind of, blow all the frustrations off, people who do things to not internalize that stuff are agents of psychokinetic phenomena like poltergeist and other effects. So if you believe your house is haunted, parapsychologists believe and will look at investigating it as a living agent component as you doing these things. So this is actually a healthy mechanism for a lot of people. And the quantum entanglement gets involved when the objects and the things that it seems to be moving, there's an entanglement with the mind and the object itself. And I kind of explained this to Jessica, and Jessica's daughter at one point. She had reported that 2 photos had moved. One was of her grandfather, one was of her grandmother, if I remember correctly. And she has them positioned a certain way in her room contained in this collage, and she found them to be moved. They were touching or crossing or something like that. And to me, that's a perfect example of psychokinetics. You know, if you are suffering from the loss or dealing with the loss of loved ones, and you're constantly externalizing it and trying not to suffer from the internal trauma that you would receive, there's going to be these little tensions that pop every once in a while. I feel like there's tensions that are built up over time, and eventually they seem random when it happens. But in my opinion, these tensions get so compressed and get so agitated, they have to release at certain points. And that's the result. The release of the energy, the psychokinetic energy, is entangled with the objects that we externalize, or that we connect to and externalize. So those are just theories. This parapsychology is widely believed to be pseudoscience. There's no hardcore physical evidence of stuff. But these things that we're talking about, these quantum effects that we're talking about, mainstream notable scientists don't really understand yet and are still baffled by the effects that they see. And even things, simple quantum effects like quantum leaps, electron that orbits around the nucleus of an atom, they will jump orbits up and down all the time. We observe it all the time. It happens all the time, but it doesn't move through space. It starts in one spot and pops into another spot without moving through space. And quantum entanglement does the same thing. These effects happen with entangled particles, entangled systems, and no matter how far apart they are temporally or spatially, they have correlations in the systems that affect one and then remotely the other. So I find all that fascinating, and I love the fact that parapsychology is trying to intersect certain scientific principles with the paranormal, which is something I am deeply interested in doing. And if you follow my work for a while, it's obvious to you that that's my thing. I tried to correlate it with EVP research, with the RVPR setups. I try to understand hauntings and investigate hauntings with all these things in mind. And more I'm going to a parapsychological point of view and angle when I do investigate these places. And a lot of the time, I believe we do create these hauntings that people experience and report. And I want to know what you guys think. Start asking me questions or throwing, things at me to see what I think. We'll go over to the girls and start shouting you guys out and getting into the show and having a good one.
Okay, I have Becky Compton. I have Josh Fritz. I have Tony Pelosi, Sandy Griffith, Derek Schreiner, Christy Brown, Heather Elliott, Mackenzie Bing Bing, Bill Davis, Daniel Everson, Jamie Hunt, Jessica Bias, and Freddie Johnson.
Wow. Sounds like a lot.
Just as trolling Facebook.
I was scrolling and it showed that I was on. I was checking a notification.
It's like an itch it's like an itch you have to scratch, right?
Right. No. I have Sam Thomas, John Cool, Craig Williams, The Witch of Virginia, Becky Compton is also on YouTube. Tina, Supernatural Lost Adventures, and Joe Vitale.
Nice. So we have The Witch of Virginia and The Witch of West Virginia all in one stream.
I figured I had to throw that in there.
Right. Nice. Thanks for joining us, guys. Any questions or comments yet? There usually isn't.
Not on Facebook.
No.
They usually just, saying hi to each other, and there are
Vanessa
live stream
just jumped on.
scientists. Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa.
Uh-oh, she doesn't have a show tonight. We might get her attention longer than 5-10 minutes.
So now we have the Witch of...
Oh, yeah, where does she...
Oklahoma, I think.
I
And
think she
Philip
lives
just
in
jumped on.
Wichita, Kansas, I believe, if I remember her
Is it
bio.
Kansas?
I think.
I don't know. I don't
Pretty
remember.
sure.
I don't remember.
All right. Well,
We love Vanessa.
I
yeah,
do too.
ask me questions about parapsychology, like, so I can Google them, because I probably won't know if you ask me something really. Because you know what? I can only stuff so much information in my brain at one time. So I will learn about a subject and know it well, but then I have to delete some files. I think I've reached the capacity of my brain to remember things.
But see, Vanessa could ask you and answer them. So
Right.
Well, she has her own, opinions on everything too, but she's not like a fact memorizer. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's true. I also have Philip Wyatt, Tammy Petty, and Nicolette. So I'm just
Thanks for joining us. So if you girls were kind of listening to that little introduction I had, what is your opinions on the cause of certain phenomena? Do you believe that it's possible that parapsychology is right in a lot of cases where things are moving around, they're hearing stuff, they're seeing stuff, things are being manipulated? What do you think about that?
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Go first.
Well, I mean, I think this is going to answer your question of my opinion on it. Like when we're out investigating, like there's certain things that I hear, but I just don't know if it's my mind because of the location that we're at, if it's my mind coming up with this stuff, or if I'm actually legitimately hearing it. So that's why a lot of times I don't say too much, because I just don't know if it's my mind just giving me something to hear, because it's like I'm thriving for, to hear the little things and stuff.
Well, that could be possible, but if other people are hearing it, then you would have to rule that out.
Like if I see Missy turn her head and I'm thinking, I did hear what I just heard.
Based on all the footage I have watched over the last 3, Rhodes Hotel being the most, we're responding to actual acoustic noise most of the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, Missy, she is highly clairaudient. She hears a lot of things that we don't capture. Sometimes we can back them up, but most of the time we don't. And that's the thing with psychic phenomena. What can parapsychology explain? Like, what theory or hypothesis can they come up with to explain some type of scenario where we could test whether their clairaudience or clairvoyance, clairsentience, so on and so forth, can produce result that's testable using a scientific method. And if these events get entangled with the environment somehow, if the stuff that happens that imprints an area, a location, an object, even theoretically speaking, psychics are more prone to getting information from it. Okay? It's like a computer that can connect with a hard drive. It can read the stuff off the hard drive. If you put a hard drive in my hand, I can't see anything, hear anything on it. But if you connect it to a computer, it can. It interfaces with it. So the psychic ability, using this analogy, you're able to interface with some type of storage system of information in the environment. And I've heard a lot of psychics use the term download when they do readings of locations. They get a download. So I think that's... I see some questions on Facebook if you want to start going through them.
I don't have any questions.
Well, Sandy Griffin had asked a question just a moment ago. I thought I seen her ask a question.
She said, "Not me. I'd be scared of that." We were talking about
Sandy
readings.
says, "I was thinking about that today. Do you think that a place that isn't actually haunted? Do you think people investigating?" Go ahead and read that.
Let me find it. She said, "I was thinking about that today. Do you think that a place that isn't actually haunted? Do you think people investigating so much could cause it to be haunted? For real?"
In some instances, yes. And we've talked about it on the show before. Urban legends are a huge one. if there is a crybaby bridge, a haunted cave, a haunted tunnel, a haunted forest, things that you see pop up in, urban legend that have no history or evidence of anything like the legend states happening on record, then those things are just legend. But if you get people going to these locations, constantly seeking out these things that are allegedly there based on the legend, over time, psychokinetic energy will manifest from these people constantly fueling these locations, and you will start getting things, phenomena, like voice phenomena, visual manifestations of the phenomena happening. And parapsychology is interesting when we're talking about this because psychokinetics can do weird things. It's not just about moving. It's about manifesting things that we can actually physically see and hear, record even. So I do believe that a lot of places that people go can cause a haunting in a way.
Okay. Vanessa said, rarely will your mind create just to fill the void during those situations.
Yes, you really have to try hard to be objective. If you're out there looking for something in like white noise, or you're trying to listen to something from a spirit box, or you're trying to use a tool that's essentially random number generators or random noise generators, your brain is really good about making patterns out of chaotic or non-pattern type mediums, which we see in all the time. The ghost box is huge. It's called pareidolia and apo something. I have to look that up. There's another psychological term for that. But yeah, your brain can definitely play tricks on you, and you definitely try to investigate using methods that don't allow that to happen as easily.
Vanessa said, some of the best messages I've gotten appear to be nonsense to me, but make complete sense during discovery.
Right. And I think that's a character and a key thing to recognize whether it's your imagination doing it or not, because your imagination will try to make sense of something to where if something comes across psychically, it won't make sense to you at all. And that's a good way to identify that what you're getting is what you need to report in a reading. I do agree with that.
Paranormal reporter asked, can untrained mediums unleash this crap on people and places asking for a friend?
Yeah, you're getting in the realms of the occult and witchcraft there. And there's parapsychological effects that can happen too. Like I said before, parapsychology has studied and found that people who disassociate, artists, people who externalize their trauma and frustrations and energy so it doesn't physically and psychologically affect them, are very good at doing these things. Okay? So if you see somebody that's cutting themselves, they're not very psychokinetic. But if you see somebody that went to the Holocaust and came out smiling and shaking people's hands, those people can move mountains. Okay? And that's what I'm talking about there. So that's how you know what characteristics in people to look for when you're trying to study it.
Tony Pelosi asked, what percentage do you think of entanglement is responsible for as far as paranormal activity goes?
That's a great question. We don't know. The studies that I've seen, I mean, there's been a lot in the 60s and 70s, and they still happen, but not quite as much now. I think to understand it is well beyond our ability to know how to test yet. We don't understand entanglement well enough to know how it affects physical systems. But we're starting to get there. The stuff that Stuart Hammerhoff and Robert Penrose is doing with the orc, I forget it now. It's orchestrated something. Here, let me look it up. But it seems like if it doesn't have to do with the phenomena itself, it has something to do with how psychic phenomena taps into things. We'll look up Stuart Hammeroff. Or I think yeah. Let's see if this is right. Okay, orchestrated objective reduction is a biological theory of mind that postulates that consciousness originates at the quantum level inside neurons and the microtubules, okay, rather than the conventional view that is produced by connections between neurons computationally like a computer. So what that states is if these things are quantum effects, if our consciousness is a quantum effect, psychic phenomena is a quantum effect, therefore there's a lot of paranormal phenomena that's a quantum effect. Our microtubules have these orchestrated quantum vibrations that are happening. Okay? So we start getting into precognition, we start getting into the psychic sense, and things that happen outside of that system and are just, received by our senses, I think are less prominent than us reaching out and using quantum effects to observe. So to answer your question is, I think it has more with quantum effects and entanglement, observing phenomena and actually manipulating physical systems and impacting physical systems than it does us just coming to us. Because if that was the case, then it would just happen like all the time. You can be walking down the street, going to the subway, and all of a sudden a tree would just uproot. That's not how it works. How it works is you're living in a house. It's old. It's stained and imprinted with all these psychokinetic memories and energies. And then you start vibrating and getting on the frequencies, and psychically and quantumly you're starting to get in tune with these, and all of a sudden things start happening. It can happen right away if you're very sensitive, or it may take time, especially if there's other dynamics involved, like family dynamics, multiple members of the family, so on and so forth. That's a good question, though. I wish I could answer it better than that.
Okay, and I have one more question.
Okay.
Don't hurt my feelings. What do you think of clairvoyance? If you're at a location and you all of a sudden have a vision of something taking place therein.
What do I think about the possibility of the clairvoyance being real?
Yeah.
I think it could be real. And I do that research all the time. I've even experimented with remote viewing and clairvoyance myself. I think remote viewing is a big thing that you need to look into, because the more the brain can engage in something it knows very little about, you can get better data from. If you put someone in an environment, there's all these key things that can make your brain start connecting dots about things that you can visually imagine and see. But if you know very little about a location, only rely on very small bits of information, but still get lots of visual information back, I think that is valuable to me as a researcher. Try doing that to validify what you think clairvoyance is. If you're experiencing that, try to remove as much of what you're trying to pick up on away from you, and only rely on very small bits of information, if any at all. Okay, because sometimes people who are clairvoyant, they will want to have some type of trigger, and that's it. They want to see a photograph. They may just want to talk to the person. Really good clairvoyants and psychics will just, like, say if I'm talking to you and I bring something up, a spark will happen and a cascading, bevy of images and stuff will start happening to them if they're really good. Sometimes I need a little something.
Are you talking to me personally, or?
No, answering the question.
Okay. Vanessa said the higher exposure to paranormal activity, the higher you begin to vibrate.
Or lower. Sometimes your vibration gets lowered by the phenomena too.
How does that happen?
Sorry.
Well, there's a spectrum. Okay, so some are high, some are low. Some believe that lower vibrations have a lot to do with, octaves and frequencies below the root chakra, below those normal healthy vibrations, lower earth energies, lower earth vibrations, things that we don't want to encounter. That happens. So it's not always higher. We want them to be higher, though.
Bill Davis, paranormal reporter said, I think Interface Death gives them out to free to Patreons.
What do we give out?
I'm not really sure what he was talking about, but
I want to know what we're giving out for free too. I got to keep track of this.
William Bennett, he said, this trend of using quantum physics terms and paranormal activity is annoying, as many use the term to confuse people that do not have the higher understanding. They are just using these terms because you will just accept the term rather than look it up and learn. They are BS. You can't just throw quantum in front of words.
That's very true. And I urge everybody to do their own research and do their own digging into these things. Never take what anybody says, especially on this show, at face value. We're only engaging in interesting dialogue that makes you think, and hopefully you will go down these roads to discovering, what is possible and what is bullshit, on your own. And there is a huge degree of throwing, these terms and science principles out there to try to explain these things, and it that is an issue. I do agree with that. But there are correlations. Scientists do that too. They will take things and infer things based on what they already know, and they'll find connections and patterns and then go from there. That's what theoretical physics is all about. It's up to the experimental physicist to actually get the data they need to prove a hypothesis has some validity, and then they can start forming theories out of it. So yes, be very careful. I think we're all can fall into that trap, whether they believe it or not. But I agree with that.
Paranormal reporter said that we give iPhones out for free to Patreons. And Derek said, no way, Justin is a Samsung guy.
I don't even think it's an iPhone. I know I can't run Camera-Fi Live on an iPhone, so that's one big issue.
Vanessa said, always question everything.
Yes, question everything. In science, it's just a collaborated belief they have. It's not 100% fact etched in stone by God himself either. They're constantly questioning their own work too, and a lot of times they end up revamping and totally redefining what they think reality is. So, but there's different things involved. There's some science is a pursuit of objectively finding truth. Okay, it's a process that's more objective. It's it's different than someone just growing up saying, "Hey, Jesus, God, Bible, do it. Don't question." Okay, so science is about questioning, but I don't want people to believe that science is the end-all, say-all about all phenomena in reality, because it's just not.
I have a question from Craig.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to see spirits in a TV, like on a channel that shows static white noise?
People believe that it is, but I've seen no hardcore evidence of it. But definitely try. I would just try it. But be careful what you do, because if you believe in such things and introduce that into your life, you reap what you sow there. So I say that with caution. But we don't set up TVs. Now, that brings up an interesting point. A lot of people report phenomena going on with their TVs when they have hauntings. And I would be more open to someone using that tool to see if anything happens compared to a ghost box or even a recorder. because a lot of these people who are reporting these things aren't generally using these gadgets that ghost hunters use. You know, they see things, they hear things, things move, you know, their sleep is disturbed. Although a lot of the times these things can be explained away and are not paranormal and are easily understood and not ghosts and not all these things, there are still unexplained things out there. So getting back to the topic, parapsychology is just trying to use scientific principles that are already existing to correlate with the phenomena. And they're actually doing experimental science with it. Now, the debate is the results of these experiments, the data they're actually getting, does that mean what they say it means? That's the debate. And so far, it's not there yet, as far as I'm concerned. But based on my life experience and what I believe is a different story. I don't expect someone to take what I say and just believe it without questioning. What I expect them to do is listen and allow my stories and my experience and my opinions to, you know, show you some possibility of what could be true based on what I say. I mean, anecdotal evidence has value, but by all means, go out there and do experiments, take the TV out there and do what you think it might do. That's what my recommendation would be. Oh, Jessica's got a smile on her face.
Well, I just see Vanessa's comment. It says they're here.
Yeah. Steven Spielberg did a lot of research for that movie, and he based a lot of that stuff in that movie off things that has been reported to parapsychologists and paranormal investigators and books.
William also said, I would love to see a scientific series of testing involving TVs.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people would probably not watch it because it... See, here's the thing about TV, guys. I hate to go off on this tangent. People do not watch things on TV to bring them closer to reality. Most of the time, people watch it to escape reality or just to be simply entertained. And when you're being entertained, you don't want to see things that bring you back down to earth. For me, for example, the people who like Game of Thrones and what's that zombie show that everybody likes? The Walking Dead. I mean, that has no basis in reality. But people love to watch that. That's what they want to see on TV. So you kind of have to escape. Now, the people that like the History Channel, Discovery Channel, documentaries, those people would like to see that stuff, but it's just not the most popular thing. So I think there is a target audience for that. Just not for TV. It's mostly for, you know, a small group. Let's fill up.
Derek said he always wanted to try the TV experiment.
Well, get on it, brother. Let's check out this link, Wyatt. REAREI Virtual ITC Circle. Okay. Did he say why he was hosting that? He wanted people just to check it out, like it has something to do with parapsychology, or it's...
I think I saw his comment, something about to help people with their mediumship.
Okay.
It's I think it was AREI or something like that when I was seeing when I was scrolling through. So I saw the link. It has those same letters in it. So
I've been waiting. Okay. Yeah, video ITC. I gotcha. Yeah. I've been waiting for John Cool to chime in. I know he introduced me to Brandon Masulo, and I know he follows several parapsychologists. I was wondering what he...
I think it was him earlier said that there was a place that actually does classes on parapsychology.
Yeah, there's one place in Edinburgh that does it, and that's where Brandon Masulo went. And I don't know if that's where Lloyd Arbach went, but I know he does classes of his own. He's one of the bigger parapsychologists. And there's this one guy I was watching today. His name was Edwin something. See if I can ring it up in my history. So you guys, I can just throw these names out there. You can go do some research. Go ahead.
Hi, Jen. That's all I was going to say.
Edwin C. May. He's a quantum physicist and parapsychologist, and he's wrote some books about parapsychology. And that's what's interesting. You get all these scientists, these people have legitimate schooling and training that are looking into these things. It's not just this guy named Justin Brown. He's doing quantum this and quantum that in front of it, and he's making, to seem like he understands the paranormal. That's not what's going on. What's going on is smart motherfuckers are out there doing smart shit with the paranormal, and we should give it a look. And hopefully you guys will if you haven't already.
Philip just answered your question. He said they are ITC groups. Their ITC groups has people that do loop recordings ITC with the TVs.
Okay.
Amazing images.
Okay.
Sorry,
and
I was
Nelson
wrong.
just jumped on.
Who was it?
Nelson.
Hey, Nelson.
John Cool said Rhine Institute Lloyd Gibbs Classic. Craig Williams says, Justin, have you seen the movie White Noise?
Yes. Yeah, with Michael Keaton. Yep, I have. If that's the one he's referring to. I have seen that. Very interesting.
William Bennett says you have to have a degree to be a parapsychologist.
Yes, I mean if you want people to take you seriously, and if you want people to feel at ease that you know what you're talking about to a certain degree, yeah, I mean it helps to have a degree. I would hope no one would label themselves as a parapsychologist that have not received any training involving the actual study of it. He likes the motherfucker part. What's he talking about?
They like it when you curse.
They like it when I curse.
Oh, spend a weekend with him.
It just scares the shit out of me and Jess, and everybody else is like, I like it. It's fun.
Especially when he opens a door right next to you.
Right?
When you season a little bit in there, I guess that's what they like. But yeah, if you spend the weekend with me, it's kind of like, okay, I'm good. Oh. I think the last thing Jess said to me was, I can't take it anymore, and walks off, gets in Josh's truck, and they leave.
Yeah. Well, first I gave pity to your wife. Like I bowed down to her. Like, I mean, it's that bad, guys.
So she disassociates, turns it into poltergeist activity, and that's why the world is haunted, is because of me. It's because Christy has to put up my shit. Haven't you been following along?
Obviously not, but I tolerate you for Christy.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think there was any degree courses in the U.S., but I think in Edinburgh there is, right? That's what Brandon said where he went. That's one of the places you can go. That's one of the places. And there's online courses like we talked about before. Lloyd Auerbach has online courses. And that's
Wyatt said I did one of those courses.
Yeah, that's something that I'm considering doing. I think it's $250. I think that's the last time when I looked. We'll look.
Vanessa had to jump off because she had to pee before her reading. I think it's in Ireland. I don't remember what she said.
Okay.
William Bennett says opportunities to study parapsychology topics at college and universities in California, Georgia, New Jersey, and Virginia.
Yeah, I'm looking up Lloyd Auerbach's online class now on his Facebook page. Professional parapsychology courses here. I'll link this for you guys because love you all. This is one that I have heard is good. John Cole would probably agree. Brandon Masula would probably agree. There's a lot of people that follow parapsychology that would probably agree that Lloyd Auerbach is one of the most well-known and reputable parapsychologists in the States. Let's go back to Justin Brown blog page so I can link it in the Facebook stream. But yeah, keep the questions and comments coming. So far, they've been pretty good.
Jason Snyder said the show is hard to hear over the shower.
Is his shower?
I was saying, is he taking a shower?
I asked him why he was taking a shower watching the show.
That's dedication.
Right?
Jason.
I mean, it could be worse. He could be on the shitter.
Yeah, this show's hard to hear over my ass.
Philip Wyatt said Arthur Finley College is in UK. It is the top for mediumship development.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't know about that. I was talking about parapsychology. That's all I know about.
He said yes, he was. He was in the shower watching show.
Hey, man, I appreciate that kind of dedication, that loyalty there. I admire that. So yeah, I guess we could talk about a little bit about what's been going on in the interface death front. We just wrapped up our investigation at Old Licking County Jail. That was a lot of fun. Interesting things happened, and according to Derek, we may have found our first visual anomaly. And definitely some weird things happened on Jessica's walkthrough, and I have not reviewed, but we do have a live review starting up for the patrons and the VIP live stream subscribers on our website for Rhodes Hotel. If you guys want to see all of our data peer-reviewed live and reviewed live, you can do that with us. We do that. What's so funny?
I can see Bill Davis's comment. Says this show gets Josh dirty. He's not even on. He gets brought in.
Is it June yet? What's Becky doing in June?
She is going to it's here in West Virginia. That's bad. I don't know these locations.
Trans-Allegheny
Lunatic Asylum.
Yeah. See, I don't. I'm like, I just talked to her last night and she told me.
That one scary, cool looking place in West Virginia.
Justin, I'm going to stab you in your face. Stop.
Hey, I'm not making fun of you. That's a good description.
Yes, you were.
Nope.
She's going to punch you in your face.
She never does. I've done so many things to deserve being punched in the face and never been punched.
I'm sending my energy out
She
right now,
punched
punching you in your face.
She punched me in the kidney lightly, though.
I did.
Why lightly?
Probably,
I can't leave marks.
Yeah, probably because she didn't want to get charged with assault.
We were in a haunted prison.
No, actually, it was at his house.
Oh.
And Josh is like, oh, now you know what it feels like. She does it to me. No, I don't. I don't do it.
I'm the only one who gets punched.
See, you should have done it at the prison and left. You could have left a mark and blamed it on the ghost.
Yeah. Could
But back to the live stream. I really want people to engage with that, but it's exclusive content. So you can go to the VIP channel on the website on the video page, and I think it's $2 a month. You can see all the live stream stuff that we do. Or you can do $1 a month on Patreon, join the Facebook fan club group, Death Trippers, and I will be streaming it there too. So technically, to see that stuff, $1 a month is all it costs. And what we do is just sit there and just comb through all the video and audio data and all of the environmental logs and see if there's anything that happens. And you guys get to be a part of that. And that's one of the biggest things that we want to do this year for you guys. We want more peer review, and we want the people who are helping us financially seeing everything there is to see about the work we do. So hopefully that kind of transparency is good. What?
And this is going to be, Rhodes, right?
Yeah, Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be live streaming the first part of the day review. I think I'm going to do two parts, so it's not so damn long. We got an hour long segment. What?
Becky Compton.
She said, I think the full moon is next week, and tell Jess I have bad knees.
I told her that story. That kills me. Kills me.
Well, I have bad knees, but I didn't cut in front of anybody.
You don't have any knees, honey.
She must.
Right?
Was she? You told her the story, or was she watching the live stream on the way home?
No, I told her the story. I spoke with her last night
Oh,
on the phone.
okay.
I was like, I have to tell you a story.
So the moral of the story is you're a bitch.
No, Justin.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
The moral of the story is Jessica's nice. She let two people go in front of her.
Yeah, you strained your
bathroom.
bladder for the greater good.
One was doing the pee dance, and the other one she told me she had bad knees, and I let him go.
Derek said, you still can't cut in the bathroom line. And Becky said, Derek Schroeder, I think I would have asked her how much time she spent on them.
Wow.
Only IHOP.
So, Lloyd Auerbach's good, but we've had Brandon Masulo on the show, so definitely Amazon, The Ghost Studies, Brandon Masulo, go check that book out. There's lots of source material online about parapsychology, and the reason why I do bring up all the quantum theory involvement in parapsychology is I like that stuff. Whether it has anything to do with it or not is besides the point. I just like that they're trying to use science to explain phenomena that we know exists. Now, if you're watching this and you say this is all bullshit because nothing's happened to you, take a little closer look, because things that are considered paranormal are normal and happen all the time. And if you follow my work, I give a lot of details of this. Precognition, having a conversation with somebody, responding to somebody faster than your brain can process the auditory information is one example. And there's many more out there. So
Nelson says, speak of the devil, Brandon just joined.
Oh, hi, Brandon.
William Bennett says, here I am trying to PG rate my language.
Yeah, Brandon's like, oh, Justin's streaming and he's talking about parapsychology. Why am I not watching this? So maybe Brandon can give us some insight on why he pursues parapsychology. Like I've had him on the show. You can go watch the Necromancer show that I had him on. Quantum theory is awesome. It is, and I just think there's so many correlations and so many things. Like if you look at quantum theory, there's things that you can define it as paranormal. Quantum entanglement, the collapse of the wave function, superposition, all those things scientists don't understand. It's weird. It's counterintuitive.
John Cool says, good book. Waiting for him to write another book.
Yes, you're welcome, Brandon. The Haunted Theories that you see there in the comments, that's his page. Go check it out if you want to learn more about parapsychology. And Lloyd Auerbach has some good books. I've listened to a lot of videos with Lloyd on there, and he is very informative. There's a lot of parapsychologists out there, and most of them come from science fields, and for good reason. They take a look at the information. They take a look at all the things that science tells us and saying, hey, look, there's some correlations. There's some roads that we need to travel and things that we need to cross off lists. It's worth researching. It's worth investigating and experimenting with these things. And like I said, weird shit happens a lot. Culturally, I think a lot of people are ready to accept that there are things that aren't explainable by normal means, whatever your definition of normal is. And we need to look into some things out there. And there are people that are doing that, legitimate work. So if I ever had the opportunity to take an online course or to learn more about parapsychology, I would. And I urge you guys to do that. It's definitely going to shed, I believe, in my opinion, it's going to shed light on a lot of the stuff that we classify and define as the paranormal. And to reiterate and come full circle is there's a lot of this phenomena that occurs that deals with our conscious minds, our consciousness actually affecting physical systems and entangling with what we call physical around us. And if you're here still watching, you believe, or at least in the possibility that these things do happen and they are real. And before we wrap it up, I would like to thank everybody for watching me talk about these things for at least an hour. I think we're going to do a 2-hour freestyle here soon. I don't know. I think we haven't done one in May yet, right? Last one we did was in April.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do it in the last week of May, which is not here yet. So yeah, we have a few more weeks to do one. We'll let the patrons decide when we do it.
What day would that be? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Okay. If we take a look at my schedule real quick, there's some Tuesdays that
Because you guys could do it on the 22nd. That would be my birthday present.
Aww.
You want to do the show for your birthday?
Well, I figured I was going to have to do it anyways.
Awen and Braylon have games that night. I can't do it. So
okay.
The 14th or the 13th. I think next week I'm going to have to do a show on a Monday because my schedule is locked. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'll let you guys know. But there's some Tuesdays that are open, so just bear with me on the scheduling, guys. It's going to be crazy. My daughter and son are both playing ball this summer, and it's going to get really crazy. Thanks, Nelson. We'll see you. Enjoy your dinner. William Bennett, it would drive me nuts that if paranormal activity is part of quantum mechanics and why our models don't currently work, I do challenge people to drive me nuts, so get out there and figure that out.
Yes, Justin, get out there.
Challenge
do
accepted. I just need more money. Can I have some money?
John Cool said, I wish the science would look more at people with certain health problems and add it to part of their research. Brandon and I have discussed this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Multiple sclerosis is one that they definitely need to look into, amongst other things. Christy and Jess both have MS, and they report things that would make you wonder if their sensitivities to the environment due to their, immune systems attacking the myelin.
Just say brain holes.
Brain holes. Well, if they don't know, your own immune system eats away at the lining around your nerves, causing them to short out and not work. This forms scar tissue, which damages your central nervous system permanently, and that's not good.
It happens on your brain and on your spine.
Spine, brain, and ocular nerve, your optical nerve. Yeah. So they're definitely right. Definitely. Just need money. Science, money. Science, money. Science, money. That's what we need. Thanks, Sam. All right, you girls have anything to add before we wrap this up?
Nope.
I don't think. I forgot to add the new promo into the. See if I can do that real quick. If you see the screen switch, just stand by. Okay, sorry guys, I had to add that in there real quick so I can show you guys the new trailer in the show. So thanks for hanging in there for those 10 or 20 seconds of dead air. But thanks for everybody joining me. Thanks, girls, for moderating. As always, you do such a great job and keep me sane during the show. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We have a lot going on this summer. We have Mid-South Paranormal Convention in around Louisville, Kentucky, the last weekend of June. Gettysburg Battlefield Bash in Gettysburg the last weekend of July. We have lots of investigations lined up. Please go to interfacedeath.net and get subscribed to our mailing list because we keep you updated through that. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube, you can check out my blog page. And Interface Death. They're both into the video descriptions on Facebook. Patreon is a huge thing that keeps this show going. We're going to talk more about that in a second. And if you're watching on Facebook, please go to YouTube, look Interface Death up. The link is in the description. Give us a subscribe. It helps us out a lot. We have to thank our Patreon supporters for making this content possible. People like Clay Borman, RJ Murphy, Scotty Fox, Casey Schreiner, Jessica Bias, Paranormal Reporter, Joe Vitale, Heather Elliott, General Rogue, Cherry Capital Shadow Seekers, The Ghost Guild, Kelly McConkey, and Tony Filosi. Thank you very much. It's a huge blessing for us to have you guys support us. We love shouting you out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you would like to be a part of what we do and make sure that this content keeps going and have your little, name stamped on it as being a part of it, that's what this is all about. So check us out. Next week we'll be live again. We're going to live Friday. If you want to go to our website, to the VIP live stream to figure out when we're doing that, it's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can subscribe to that channel, or you can go on Patreon and get access to the data review that way. I want to leave it there. Thank you all very much. You're in my heart. I love you all. Stay spooky. Stick around. We have a new trailer that's coming out, a brand new season that's coming out. So stick around for those promotions. We'll see you next time. Do you have that drive? That morbid curiosity to explore the darkness? Do you have what it takes to brave the night? You do? Good.
Dead light. For those who aren't afraid to see what lurks in the night.
In every old building, a story lays dormant, yearning to be told. This is our calling.
I don't know why in this room, I'm hearing the train.
I just heard something.
it feels like it's train non-stop. I don't know why.
Are you down there? Not afraid. We know what it feels like to walk in the darkness.